That's right. Richard.
Oh, sure.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit.
No, I just want in the center. There's too many heads. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm so thankful that my mind is stayed on Spirit.
Am I blocking?
Thankful that my mind is stayed on Spirit. I'm so thankful that my mind is stayed on Spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Beautiful. You may have a seat if you'd like. Welcome everyone to One Heart, One Mind. If you would kindly put your cell phones on stun or off, whatever, we appreciate it. I am Barbara Thurber, and I'm joined on stage today with Thomas, who's also our singer for today, and Judy Sr., and John Anthony Lewis. Welcome. So we've got quite a group up here today, so welcome to all of you. So, our next song is A Place to Go. Let's go. That feelings. Michelle. Is a place where we can always go. Come with me. Where it's alright to let your feelings show. Come with me. What a blessed journey isn't very far. We can go together, stay right where you are. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. And the light shines through each window. And the door is open wide. And each question has an answer. If you only look inside, there is a place where every sorrow ends. Come with me. Where every hope and every truth begins. Come with me. What a pleasant journey isn't very far. We can go together, stay right where you are. Now it's time to start. It's right here at One Heart. Now it's time to start. It's right here at One Heart. And our practitioner of the day is Leslie Massacos, and as she makes her way to the stage, we'll be singing Listen. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you.
Our reading this morning comes from the Science of Mind textbook, from the section on supply. everything that we do should be a success, and we should be led to do those things that are constructive and worthwhile. To bring a realization of the presence of the Spirit into all our acts is to prove that God is all, even in the slightest things that we undertake. Nothing is great and nothing is small to the divine. So we should never wonder in what we are going to do, whether it will be hard or easy. God knows no hard or easy. A treatment after this manner should prove the law of abundance in the life of those who use such statements and believe in them. Let us join together in consciousness. I know that we are surrounded by the pure Spirit of God. It is the living Spirit. And that the words that we speak here this morning are truth, for they come from God thought. I declare for us that we are all successful in leading abundant lives, that God is our source, and that source is always abundant. I know that if there are any challenges in our life right now, that the solution to those challenges are present. For this is part of the abundance of God that is given to us. So we let go, we release, and we let that God power come forth and express it in us, knowing that it is truth, it is love, and it is powerful, and there is absolutely nothing that can be in opposition to it. We are thankful for this knowingness and for this great community, this center, which we can join together in the sharing of each other's lives and experience that oneness, that connectedness that we all are. We let these words go, knowing that they already are an expression. And together we sing, and so it is.
Listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Well, good morning, One Heart, One Mind. It's great to see everybody here this morning, and we, of course, have Dr. Harry Morgan Moses with us today, and we're looking forward to both his talk and his workshop after the service, and we have a great potluck, so I hope everybody stays around, and I absolutely welcome all newcomers. If you're here for the very first time, we would love to see you, and if you go to our bookstore and you fill out, even if you don't fill out a card, all you have to do is say, I want the free gift. And the free gift is our book called Angel Quest, and it's back there, and we would love to, and I'll autograph a copy for you if you'd like. And talking about that, Harry has a great book here called It's So Easy by Dr. Harry Morgan Moses. He also has a table back there, so take a look at Harry's table. He's got all kinds of things there for you, and you'll have a lot of time to talk to him, get to know him. He's got a world of experience because he's been around this teaching for a long time. And has had lots of, anyway, we can talk about that later. So, here we are with our vision statement, so let's say it together. We're a spiritual community, opening hearts and minds to spiritual magnificence. Through the teaching and healing principles of science and mind, we experience joy, the sure sign of the presence of God. We want to recognize our practitioners. These are the backbone of our healing service. Would they just stand and be recognized? Let's give them a big hand. And know that Leslie is our practitioner, and she's available She's available for your treatments. And then Al Neville's every Wednesday has his prayer circle. It is a great prayer circle. Last Wednesday night we had a real treat. We had Reggie Gleason with us, who told us where she met Dr. Ernest Holmes and actually showed us a photograph of her with Dr. Holmes, and it was a great experience. So you're going to really learn stuff on Wednesday night with Al's class, so please avail yourself of the Wednesday night class. We want to work with our Sunday school, and we had a great meeting last week with our Sunday school. So if you're interested in working with the Sunday school and you'd like to help, please see Reverend Janet Bradbury. Janet, would you stand up so people... She's with the kids. Okay, that's good. She's with the kids. Or see Dr. Gisela, and or Rosalie Ortiz also. So that would be to help with the Sunday school. And we already talked about Dr. Harry's going to do his workshop, the Heaven Experience, after our potluck at 12:30. Good picture, Harry. All right. No Spiritual Circles program today, but we will meet in the practitioner room beginning on Sunday, November 3rd. So that's the Spiritual Circles. And you can join us anytime after a service for Spiritual Circles. We can talk about your life, you can talk about anything, and then we do spiritual line treatment for you. From Whence We Came is going on through November 19th. Bible History and Scholarship, the last meeting is this Thursday, October 31st. So that's Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth, stand up so everybody sees you. Please come to Dr. Ruth's last class on Thursday morning if you get a chance. She's got some great stuff to tell you, okay? All right.
No, because we're meeting someplace else.
Okay, so talk to her about that. Okay, the book of the month is The 7 Principles of Prosperity. It's available by ebook. You can also just sign up for it in the bookstore, and we will send you an e-copy of the book, The Principles of Prosperity. The Spirit Soul Band will be here next week. Now, everybody really who was here really enjoyed the band. Did you like the band we had? All right. So we need your enthusiasm. We need your participation, and we need you to tell people about the band that is going to be here next week. And I think we're going to have a special soloist. I think. Have you worked that out at all, or talked about that at all? Yes. Okay. So we have a special soloist for our band next week, so make sure you're here for that. All right, so our One Heart, One Mind choir will sing on November 10th. And, do you see our attic? Did you know we had an attic? Yes, it's up there, and we've got stairs that go up to the attic. We built these stairs, and now what we need to do next week is we need to have some of you come and say, I want to help move stuff up to the attic. So it's not all empty like that, and you get to see, if you participate next week, you get to see what's in that magic box. Okay? So that's next week, and please talk to Dr. Gisela about it. All right, so we do have, yes, Anita has a thing about her, can you stand up and just tell us from there, Anita?
Yes, on November 17th, we're doing a fundraiser, and I'm going to be doing another floral arranging class. If anybody's interested, I have a flyer, sign up for it. It's $25. All supplies are being provided.
Yay.
All right, and Dr. Matt Gleason has an announcement. Let's welcome Dr. Matt.
Thank you, Dr. Harry. Thank you, Dr. Tom. Oh, you're all men of God. What we just saw, that we want to get more young children here, and Dr. Tom and Dr. Harry, and we all agree that as far as our interest goes, that's what grows. And so if we want more people here, we want to help more people. Because the universe will say, well, you're interested in young people, we're going to send you some more. And somebody who's very interested in that is Jackie. Jackie Neville is on the board of directors for the Gompers Preparatory Academy, and with UCSD. And they have taken kids there, and they have a remarkable success rate. And last year and this year, 100% of the kids that graduated from Gompers are going to college. And so they are putting on a fundraiser, and Jackie has a little list that you can sign. So I want to see everybody's name on there. You can spend $125 as I did to get a ticket for there, but if you get $5, that's fine too. This, I know there's a lot, everybody's got their hand in your pocket. This is just another hand. Thank you.
All right, we want to let you know that our board is a tithing board, and we actually had a presentation from the Gompers Academy, and the board of trustees of our center tithe to the Gompers Academy because we absolutely support that idea of young people. And talk to Jackie. She's got some amazing stories about these kids from lower socioeconomic groups who have had this presence and power, and they're all going to college, 100% of them. So, all right. So I think that's all the announcements for today. So let's take a look and pull out your word for today, and the word is abundance. Okay. Now, abundance and prosperity and affluence, it's all the same thing. And what we want to know about it is simply that it is indigenous to the universe. If you think about it and you see the universe and you see all of the beaches and the sand and the leaves on the trees and all of the planets and the stars, you can't count them all. There's no way you can count them all because it goes on forever. There's an abundance in our universe. It's built in, and it's built into you, and it's built into me. And so the only thing that can prevent us from being abundance and prosperity is our own stinking thinking. And so all we have to do is make that decision and know the truth that we are abundant, that we are prosperous in what we do. So study the card this week, and we have to put it, I didn't put the right thing at the bottom, so let's take a look at the card and see at the very bottom of the card, it says, I'll read it first and then we'll say it together. I proclaim and claim abundance in my life. Now, wait, before you do it, but before you do it, you have to, do you really believe this? Yes. Do you really know this? Yes. All right, are you ready to say it with me? Yes. All right, I proclaim and claim abundance in my life. And so it is. Thank you very much. And let's take a moment right here and right now then to just center ourselves in spirit, open our hearts and minds to the presence of God. Open our hearts to the presence of God. Open our hearts to God's love. Open our hearts to the presence of God. To the presence of God in our hearts. And so here we are. We are flowing. Because there is nothing that stays the same. Everything flows. And we are flowing in spirit because we live, we move, and we have our being in spirit. There's no place where we can go that is not spirit. In the Bible it says, though I climb the highest mountains, thou art there. And though as I go into the deepest part of the seas, thou art there. Wherever I go, this spiritual presence and power is there. Everything in this world is an emanation of that presence and power. And so all we have to do is take our attention and focus it on the truth. Focus it on the presence. Focus it on spirit. Focus it on the love and life of spirit. And then everything proceeds from there. That's why Jesus, the Master, said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else shall be added unto you. And so all we have to do is listen to what Emerson said, get our bloated nothingness out of the way and allow the divine currents to move in and through us. For we, each one of us, is made for great greatness. And as we begin to proclaim it and discover it and open it up to us, greatness comes to us. So I proclaim for each and every person here great success, great prosperity, great loving relationships, fabulous and fantastic health, and great creative self-expression. I know that for you. Let's know it for each other and say together then, and so it is. All right, so let's welcome our soloist for this morning. Let's welcome Colette Thomas.
We sail above the weather. We search the ocean floor. We rival our creation, still yearning for more. But can we fly together on migratory being? How wonderful if that's what God could see. A single voice can whisper prayer, can only pray to travel there. But all is one, we come the everlasting prayer, and sing our salvation, our lost and information, on migratory being. How wonderful if that's what God could
Well, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our speaker for this morning. As I said, we could go on for talk about a lot of things, but I checked. I first met Harry back in New Orleans, actually, in 1990 when he was first a staff minister for Dr. Erling Castellan here in San Diego. And through the years, we got to know each other. I was always very connected with Anton when Harry helped start the Anton movement. And we always have stayed connected over the years, and he's a great light in Science of Mind. I don't know anybody who knows any more about Science of Mind than Dr. Harry Morgan Moses. So let's welcome him and give him a great One Heart, One Mind moment.
Wow, that's the first time I've ever really agreed with somebody who introduced me. I don't know anybody who knows about more of this than me. That's but Dr. Tom and Dr. Giesler are great champions of this divine idea. And it sits in the field, not late. It's beginning to get some potential. And that potential is picking up. You know, that the big shift in the world, I believe, is a shift from a belief in separation, a belief in the Newtonian model of science. So many of you are familiar with that. I don't want to get too much into science. I have some CD sets out there all about science and quantum philosophy and how science and the quantum field are showing the way. In the opening of the book, you ever heard of a book called The Science of Mind by Ernst Haeckel? Okay, 6 of you heard of that book. So that book, in the opening of that book, the opening line is, thank you, that's very important. The opening line is, we all look forward to the day when science and religion walk hand in hand from the visible to the invisible. We all look forward to the day. Well, I remind you that back in Galileo's time, when Galileo figured out that the thing would drop down, right, he then came up with new theories of the universe. One of the theories was the Earth was not at the center, right? And of course, everybody believed that the Earth was at the center, and if you said that the Earth wasn't at the center, there's a good shot you could lose your head over that kind of thing. Yes?
Yeah.
And you lose your head, get thrown in jail, have things cut off. I mean, it wasn't a very pleasant thing if you decided that what the mainstream believed wasn't really so, right? So they finally figured out that actually the planet is not flat and that it was in fact round. So when this announcement happened and scientists began to grasp this idea that the Earth is not flat, do you think that everybody just got in a boat and sailed off to the horizon to see if it fell off? The belief was that if you got past the horizon, you fall off. And so now the scientists have announced you don't fall off. Do you think everybody just got confidence and said, I'm going out there to see? They said, no, how could it be round? It would be round to fall off of it. How many generations did it take for the idea of gravity and the idea that the Earth is circling around the sun become accepted? The answer is, if you Google it today, you'll find there are still people who believe it's all a hoax. You right? So what's happened is, so Newtonian science, the simple version of Newtonian science, is that everything was made up of atoms, that all things were composed of this small little particle, and that all things were born of atoms. And atoms were only a certain amount of elements could make atoms, and you had to have that material in order to have stuff, in order to have anything physical. Yes? So all of a sudden, in our lifetime, now remember, Ernst wrote this book in 1920, when he said we all look forward when science goes from the visible, the world we can see, into the invisible and starts to see what's happening in the invisible. Well, scientists began in 1940s, Niels Bohr and company began in the 1940s to say, well, if things are made of building blocks, then the smallest one is atoms, and atoms are smaller units, atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, all that kind of stuff. And what's the smallest of those particles? The smallest is the electron. So they said, let's start looking at the electron as the building block of the universe. Because obviously it's not matter, it's atoms, and it's not, the smallest part of atoms is this little particle. So let's see how everything's built from this little particle. Now what they started to do was, they said, where does this particle start? And when they started to put it in accelerators and do the science around all of this, they went, the particle doesn't exist when we just try to take a picture of it. The particle's not there when we try to take a picture of it. However, when somebody looks and tries to take a picture, it will take a picture. Did you get that? Right, so there's something going on. So let's see what it is. We'll set the camera on it and take a picture of it. And no matter how much they leave the camera on, nothing shows up. They put a scientist in the lab and say, what's in there? And all of a sudden, it will take a picture. In other words, they discovered this building block, which we thought was a solid thing, is a wave. And it becomes a solid thing when somebody looks at it. Now, wait, it didn't say when Jesus looked at it. It didn't say when Buddha looked at it. It didn't say when the enlightened masters looked at it. It said when somebody looks at it. So everybody do me a favor, touch your heart center, say, I am.
I am.
Any argument there?
No.
Everybody okay? I am. Everybody say, I am.
I am.
Okay, now, so I am, if somebody can look at it, then I am a somebody, yes?
Yes.
And I can look at the particle, the wave, and when I look at it, it will turn into a particle, because I'm expecting it to turn into a particle. And here is the new science. Consciousness, the observer, affects the experiment. Meaning that there is no me out here and the experiment there. It's all one thing. Now, you and I are of a belief. We have an idea that we believe in, which is, I shared this last week with my group in Burbank. By the way, you can find all of our stuff online. You go to spiritworkscenter.com, you can find everything. You Google me, you'll find everything. It's all free. Why? Because I didn't create enlightenment. Enlightenment belongs to everybody. Who can have enlightenment? Everybody. What's the requirement? You have to be interested. Do you get it? The only requirement for getting enlightened is you have to be interested. The only thing that will turn that wave into a particle is your expectation that it will be there. Now imagine that. So now we say everything is connected. It's not disconnected. And the whole world has grown up with, I have my problems, you have your problems, thank you for sharing. Right? Oh, I'm so sorry about that problem they're having. Right? And now, here we are living in the Pacific Coast, and there was a big thing in Japan happening. Right? The big earthquake, and the big problem in Japan. And guess whose shore it's washing onto? Ours. We're beginning to discover it's not really their problem over there, because it's all waves and particles. It's what are we looking at and what are we expecting. Now, do you think just because that's now announced and scientists now know, my consciousness, that theoretically, if I built an expectation about more love, more joy, more life, more peace, more freedom, are you getting the idea? Greater happiness in my life, if I built this inner expectation about the fulfillment of my life as love, joy, wisdom, peace, harmony, happiness, and wholeness, in the realization that this one that I am already loves me, and not only already loves me, but has decided that I'm the gift of the cosmos. Ooh. Everybody touch yourself again and say, I am. I am. Now, you see, we're all willing to say, I am. But now here's another bolder one. Turn to somebody and say, I am a gift of the cosmos. Turn to somebody and say that. And here's what Dr. Harry has to say about your statement. Ooh, if you only knew. Ooh, if you only knew. So Dr. Tom gave me a title. He says, The Relevance of New Thought. The relevance of new thought. Well, the relevance of new thought is we were the ones who saw the science before the scientists. We already saw the science before the science. Della Reese is an associate of mine. I get to see Della occasionally. And about 12 years ago, here in San Diego, I was interviewing Della for a New Thought television thing. And I said to Della, at that time, Deepak Chopra was getting all kinds of press, and we were getting all kinds of new awareness about the science of healing and where wholeness comes from, and how the healer is not the medicine that heals, but it's the consciousness of the healer that heals. And all of a sudden we're going, well, if I believe this guy is really trying to help me, that love actually gets in and penetrates my being and I can get well. Whoa. That's why one of my best doctors is a golden retriever. Right? So this idea in New Thought came along that, so I'm talking to Della, and I said, Della, in this interview, I said, Della, you must be awfully pleased, having been a student of this work for so long, that science is coming up with all of these mind-body connections. Expressing Della says, oh yes, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. God is so happy. God needs some science to prove his existence. God already is. Jesus, the great master teacher. We call Jesus the great master teacher because he was the great embodiment. Tom and Wiesler and I had an associate named Dr. Dan Morgan, who was one of the first African-American New Thought teachers in this country, following Neville and others, but in the Science of Mind section. And I was listening to Dr. Dan. He was a colleague of my teachers. I was listening to Dr. Dan sometime in the early 90s, and he had a talk entitled, The Only Thing You Cannot Have. The Only Thing You Haven't Had. Now, when you're in ministerial school, they have a subject called homiletics. Homiletics means you can learn how to give a sermon. So I was studying homiletics in ministerial school, and knowing that you need to tell your people the title, what is the title, and you tell them what you're going to talk about, then you talk about it, then you tell them what you talked about, and you end the talk. I even do that, but I need about 8 hours, so I hope you're all coming to the workshop. So I'm listening to Dr. Tan, the only thing you cannot have, and he's got a 20-minute talk. And he's now 15 minutes into the talk. And so me, young and on fire and ready to take over the room, I thought, oh, even Dr. Dan isn't getting it right. Even Dr. Dan isn't getting it right. And then finally, Dr. Dan's about a minute to go, and he takes a deep breath, and he says, so the only thing you cannot have is that which you cannot embody. My tongue fell to the floor, and it's still there. The only thing you cannot have. So Jesus, this great way shower, this great embodier, he, what we say, he caused the blind to see, the lame to walk, the deaf to hear. He raised the dead, he multiplied the loaves and fishes, he walked in the water, he calmed the storm. Now, do you know of anybody else, even though we hear great stories about the Master Buddha, we hear great stories about some of the great mystics from St. Francis and Meister Eckhart, throughout all time, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, all kinds of wonderful stories, but do we ever hear about anybody who did all of that? And so we call him the Master Teacher because he embodied better than anything anybody else. And then he said to this, these things and more shall ye do. Now, most of us go, well, that's an ideal. We'll head to that someday. But if you're a New Thought metaphysician, all of that comes into the first person. Because if I am, and the I am observes anything and affects the experiment, then what I am is the same thing that Jesus was. And what I am is the same thing that Buddha was, and the same thing that Mother Teresa was, and the same thing that Magdalene was. Everybody, all of the great mystic saints and saints all could touch themselves with full authority and say, I am. Yes?
Yes.
Did they have any more authority to say, I am, than you do?
No.
And then the Master says, behold, these things and more shall ye do. And he said, behold, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. There are two places where this is said. He said in one place it says it's at hand, and the other says the kingdom of heaven is within. Oh, well, what do we mean by the kingdom of heaven? Well, Ernest described the kingdom of heaven as a state of consciousness, a state of mind where everything is just right. Now, have you ever had a day when everything is just right? Do you sometimes turn to your friends in a day when everything's just right and say, is this heaven or what? Yes? And in that moment, while you're lined up and current, it is heaven. Because all of those fears, all of those doubts, all of those worries, all of the hounds of the heavens that are under our feet, those alligators that are chomping, not reminding us of the truth of our nature, that we're born in the image and likeness of the One. And all we have to do is follow that One, and we will radiate love. Follow that One, and you will radiate love. But behold, that One is at hand, and behold, that One is within. Behold, it's within. And so we are left with a new insight, that this universe that goes from the invisible to the visible, it is the laws of the invisible that form the visible. It is the laws of the invisible which we cannot see, because everything in the invisible cannot be seen. But it can be learned, and it can be understood, and it can be relied on. When we first discovered electricity, nobody to this day even really knows what electricity is. Electricity is made by spinning polar magnets. You all take magnets together and push them. If you spin them counter against each other, it generates a force. Spinning it is something mostly we do by water. We create other ways of spinning magnets. But we spin magnets, we make electricity, and now we know what is conductors of electricity. But in Ben Franklin's day, all they knew was something has force up there in the sky when it flashes. But the law of electricity is always there. All of us carry in our pockets right now a cell phone connected to cyberspace. However, when we were in high school, most of us, there was no cyberspace. But cyberspace was always there. So what we see is this great line of our songs, that the universe is about discovering the nature of the universe, discovering the nature of laws, and then applying those laws to bring about specific results. So there's a big controversy in the world. Can you put religion and science together? But if the atom responds to my consciousness, then that which is invisible, this thing called consciousness, I say, let's have a new religion. Let's call it self. Let's call it I am. Let's call it belongs to everyone. Let's call it you are the love of God made manifest. Let's call it you are the lotus blossom unfolding the cosmic Christ of yourself. Wait. Now what is the significance of New Thought? New Thought is the perennial philosophy. Perennial philosophy is described as a perspective within philosophy of religion which views each of the world's religious traditions as sharing a single universal truth on which all foundations of all religious knowledge is based. What is the significance of New Thought? The Transcendentalists were the ones who identified it. They took it from the Greeks thousands of years before and said, what if this is now? They took it from religion and they said, what if this is now? They took it from the master teacher and said, what if this is now? They took it from the Eastern religion and said, well, what if this is now? What if the Buddha was talking about was now? What if what Lao Tzu was talking about is happening now? And what if all of this is happening now? And what if there is a way to access it all from within? And each and every one of us is that way. So touch yourself in your heart center and say, I am. I am the way.
I am the way.
And some of us think, oh, I hope I didn't piss Jesus off. And Jesus said, I and the Father are one. You and I are one. You and the Father are one. I have come that you would know that we are all one. Let me promise you, when you claim yourself as the way, you are not pissing off the Master. You are making him a happy camper. And the more you call forth the loaves and fishes, and the more you work miracles in your own life, the miracles of raising healthy children, the miracles of making a contribution in life, the miracles of realizing your love, the miracles of looking at your friends and actually saying, I love you, the miracle of actually having compassion, the miracle of actually bringing all of this potentiality into your own being, and it creates a way of life. A way of life that now we know 5 generations of souls have lived lives of unimaginable magnificence because they have perceived this idea that God and I are one. That which is the living Spirit Almighty has placed within me the prototype of all possible human beings and has asked me to birth it in the name of light and love and joy and wisdom and peace. And it was St. Ignatius of the 15th century, might be the 11th century, I get them all mixed up sometimes. But he said this magnificent idea. And the magnificent idea is the glory of God. Now imagine in your wildest imaginations about your idea of God, this giver of all love, life, beauty, of every magnificence you've ever seen, of every joy you've ever known, of every inspiration you've ever felt. This life force has put the whole glory of itself in each of us and has said, open this present. Open this gift of yourself. Whoa. And so people ask me, there's a movie that I invite you all to see, look it up, maybe Dr. Tom will screen here for you, called the New Thought movie. It's a learning movie. It's about the history of New Thought. I'm in it, but there are many great people in it. And it's important for us to recognize that we're part of a shift in humanity. We are no longer believing in the separateness. We are knowing everything and everyone is connected. That there is no such thing as a disconnect in anything. That nothing in the universe happens randomly. Not now, not ever. That everything is born out of the quantum probability of the consciousness of humanity and what it's creating for itself. And I am that. And the glory of God is a human being fully alive. And that glory is so magnificent. It is so enticing. It is so incredible. You couple that with Einstein's lifelong understanding. And Einstein, at the end of his life, he said that They asked him two things. And what is the most important question? He said, is the universe friendly? That's the most important question. And once he answered that for himself, he was asked another question. What do you believe about this friendly universe? And Einstein, he said, everything is knowable. And quantum science says, the only thing you can know is that which you're interested in. Which who's interested in? The self is interested. That which you are interested in is the only thing you can ever know. Now here is when I mentioned this movie. I was with a panel of people that were in the movie, and the minister was presiding at the panel, and she asked me this question. She said, Reverend Lee Nash is her name. Reverend Lee says to me, who is also an attorney, attorney to the minister. Reverend Lee says to me, what is it that keeps you motivated? It caused me to take a breath, because all these years of teaching, and all of this information, and all of this inspiration and spirit, and all the things that we've gathered for years and years to do, and some of us haven't even got a glimpse of what the teaching really is. And the teaching is the glory of God is you. And God thinks so much of you that the glory of God is in you. And we say, well, how could it be in Lynette and Al and Doris and me and Joe and Matt? How could it be in all of us? I say, your idea of infinite intelligence is too small. Your idea of infinite glory is not big enough. And you can know it all, but the only thing you will know is what you're interested in. And here we are in a teaching that says God and I are one, and that you are the love of God. And then it goes one step forward. It says, you are the glory of God. Would you do me a favor? Would you and God reveal it? And that's what your life is. Every day is the opportunity for you to reestablish your consciousness and to remember that you are the glory of God unfolding, and that your problems and conditions and the alligators chomping at your feet, they came and they came to pass. The only thing that is eternal is the glory of you. And this center, and all of New Thought, and every teacher who opens the door, and everyone who holds a workshop, and everyone who gathers in meditation, we are making a huge difference in the world, because what we would claim for ourselves, we would claim for everybody. And no one is left out. And so Ernest wrote this beautiful poem. He said, peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter and be not afraid. I have set a place for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. It's for you. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit, drink the wine. It sparkles in the light. You are welcome here. And all of it is yours. And I don't know about you, but I'm interested. I'm really interested. And the fact that my consciousness has evolved so far, that I can see the gift that every human being could be interested in, and that they could unfold it, and that we could do it together in love and joy and harmony and connection. Wow, what an opportunity. You're living at the right time. And this is the right idea. And the only thing you have to do is dive in a little deeper. Just dive in a little deeper, commit a little more. Be interested just a little more than you've ever proclaimed it before. And watch what happens in our lives. If we have seen anything glorious yet, I guarantee you we have just begun to touch the hem of the garment. And I end every talk I have given the same way. I have adjusted it since most of you listened to me a long time ago. And I end it this way. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're facing the biggest challenge you've ever faced, or whether you're looking at the greatest opportunity and more magnificence than you ever made room for in your life before, everything is going to work out just fine. And by fine, I mean the sublime fine. Like fine jewelry, like fine leather, like fine watches, like fine cars. When it's going to work out fine, I mean it's going to work out just fine. And I invite you to think on these things as together we explore the possibilities. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Avery. You know what's wonderful is a colleague of yours that we watch each other during the years we get. We have very little time, of course, to listen to each other. And I think that's the finest talk I've ever heard you give. Great. Great. It really humbles me to know that. And you know what humbles me is that it is this teaching that hones us, that lifts us up. And that if you are willing to do what Harry has done, that when we commit to a teaching, if you're willing to commit to it in your own way, you can watch it hone you before your very eyes. So that all of the things that Harry asked you to say about yourself, you say, yes, I believe that. But at some point, there was that switch where you say, yes, I know that. I am that. And that's what this whole teaching is about. And so, that beautiful invitation at the end, we certainly do invite you to the possibilities. Let's take time for a moment to give our tithes and offerings. And let's say our offertory blessing together, divine love, flowing through me, blesses and increases all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is. Right here, right now, we bless this offertory. We know that it grows in abundance, that what we give absolutely increases, and we are part of that increase. And it leads to the prosperity, not only of each of us individually who give, but the prosperity of the center. And so it is. Let's welcome back Colette Thomas.
We plow the fields and scatter the good seed on the land.
Let's just center ourselves in spirit as we take in this beautiful and wonderful morning. We open our hearts and minds to this universal presence. We know that all creation comes out of our observation of this ineffable energy. This energy is all potential, and it is all love. But for it to become something, we must observe it with our own intention. And so I proclaim, and I know for each of us here, that as we go forth this week, we set our intention on the highest and the best in ourselves. We see ourselves as interconnected with every other person. We treat every other person with deep compassion and caring as we do ourselves. If anything happens this week where forgiveness is necessary, we are immediately the first to forgive. We set our intention this week to be the best week of the day. So it is not only this day I am in heaven, but this week I am experiencing heaven. Because we know that we create our own heaven by our own thoughts, our own ideas. And we know that we don't have to be here by ourselves, that there is this power and presence in the universe. It is a universe that is friendly to the development of consciousness, which simply means God loves us with an everlasting love. And we are lifted up in that love. So wherever we go and whatever we do, we know that we are supported, we are guided, we are directed by this love. And we make this conscious decision and intention to flow in it. And everything flows from that. The goodness and creation of the universe flows in our lives this week. I accept that for every single person here and everyone that's not here, to know that it's the truth. And so it is. All right. Yes, let's bring the kids forward. Okay. Who's speaking today?
We talked about abundance and how, I love the way he explained it. He explained it back to me. That abundance to, you sure you know what I'm saying? Abundance to him meant that it was everything and everything inside of him and out. Yeah. And they made wonderful projects for their mommies and their daddies, and they're both kings and queens.
Oh. Yeah, it says mom plus dad. Say it what it is.
Mom plus dad equals me.
Okay, so let's then stand it together and sing Let There Be Peace. Oh, we got to do the closing.